Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there is having themselves an amazing day. 3 keys to unlock the magic within you. It's like the 3 legs of your manifesting table. These 3 things I've not really ever heard about in one video. I think I'm kind of bringing something new to the forefront, and hopefully I'm proved wrong. I hope there's other people talking about this. But these 3 ways of looking at manifestation generally looked at independently. And I think when we do that, we do ourselves a huge disservice. We're going to talk about what the 3 are. We're going to talk about examples of them. We're going to talk about how I think they do relate together and how if one's not functioning, how that can be a problem. But when all 3 of them are happening properly, your manifestations just start happening. Your life just starts unfolding. Your consciousness just starts expanding. Everything starts to kind of fall in line. What's the first one? It's imagining. The whole imagining concept, all the techniques that they talk about when it comes to manifestation. There's a whole bunch of techniques that are talked about out there. We've got gobs of examples of them, right? The 5x55. We've got the Isn't It Wonderful? We've got the visualization. We've got multi-perspective. We've got vision wheels. We've got different word things with scripting that we can do. There's all sorts of different techniques that we use for the imagining purpose, the asking, the creation, the actual envisioning of what it is that I desire. So all of us have some sort of desire, right? That's how a lot of this manifestation stuff comes to unfold. Either A, maybe we're looking for love. B, maybe we're in a breakup situation and we want to try to figure out a way back. C, maybe we're trying to build a business, trying to enhance our wealth, trying to enhance our life. All these things come into play. When that happens, that creates a desire. And that desire creates a thought of something that is a good idea to follow if we're going to make a change. So say, for example, I want to do more wealth in my life. Well, from where I'm sitting at in my life, my desire might pop into my head like, hey, you could probably get a better job. So maybe getting myself a job, one of the things that's going to require of me is possibly getting my resume in line, maybe getting some good interview clothes, maybe just starting to make time or figure out how I could possibly do this, where I might want to work. Now, again, that's not your ultimate end-all be-all, but once you have that desire, that can lead you on the way. The imagination techniques are kind of what create your reality in front of you. It is the creative aspect. It's the part where you impress your subconscious mind and it runs out and creates the opportunity. Now, once the opportunity is created, then what? Because again, that's awesome. You want to try to get yourself an interview at a company, or you want to try to get a job in a company. Well, for the most part, you're still going to go through some sort of interview process. And even if you're getting in with a friend, oftentimes, unless it's a small company, you're still going to have to interview with some other people to make sure that everybody's on board with the fact that you're a good choice. So the second component is the I am component. It's who we are, the quality of being, I kind of almost like to liken it to. What we think of ourselves from that I am perspective. Am I worthy? Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? All of these things. If we've got inferior views of ourselves, if we don't hold ourselves in high regard, whenever we get in front of the people that we're hoping will be influenced by us, right? We want that job, we want that relationship, we want to get back together. If my mojo's out of whack, if my I am presence is lacking, when I get in front of them, I feel weird. I feel off. I don't feel right. I'm not attractive. When I have all of my I am sequences in place, when I see myself as being the proper person for the job, the proper person for the relationship, I am everything they're looking for. I am the perfect set of skills that they need for this position or that this person will desire in a relationship. I am ideal. When we understand that we are all those things, when we basically claim to be that which we already have, when we are the thing that we desire, then when we get in front of it, when that situation is presented to us, again, first step is manifesting the opportunity. Bam, opportunity happens. I'm interviewing. I'm in front of this person. They showed up at the coffee shop. I saw them at the grocery store. I bumped into some random person that happens to work at the company. That moment, it's all about who I am. It's the discussion, it's the feeling, and what they're going to walk away with after having talked to me. This has been my experience. I've seen this happen countless times. The way you are, the way you behave, the way you believe about yourself when you're in front of the audience makes all the difference in the world. So many of us just want to focus, well, no, I just create the thing and I make it happen and then that's it. I don't have to do anything else. I disagree. And that's awesome. You can think that. I don't want to argue. But the fact of the matter is, you're manifesting the situation that you're going to walk into. But then still, ultimately, there's going to be a human component to some way, shape, or form. And it's if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't realize that you are the stuff, if you don't realize that you deserve this more than anybody else, then nobody else is going to think that. I've talked about it before. You're just like, you're the captain of the ship, and all of your mates, all the crew members love you. They adore you. They live on every word you say. And whatever you say, whatever you think, whatever you believe internally, they run off and make it so. So if you're having a bad day and you're not believing in yourself, then neither does your crew. And they're not doing anything to help you out. And you've noticed that everything in your life is jacked. Nothing works out. I kept fumbling with my shoes. I actually fell down when I was trying to put my pants on. I left my phone upstairs. When I went downstairs, every single traffic light was red. All these things happen when you're out of whack. When you're not, it's the opposite. Everything goes smoothly. You go to walk and you're like, oh, my phone. You like already remember. Nothing's gone out. You're hitting green lights every step of the way. For some reason, it's like all the slow people are like getting out of the way. You're like, slow person driving a crap car. And then all of a sudden it's like blinker turns on and they just move over, or solid light because it doesn't blink. It's such an old car, right? That whole concept, everything opens up before you. So the quality of being, hugely important. No more important than the manifesting of the situation. Again, you're manifesting the scene. Now I'm saying, okay, me as an actor, I am going to come in and give the best performance of my life. And the final part, belief. Truly believing that you have this. This is what I would call the continued focus, living in the end, belief. However you want to manage that. Again, there's lots of videos on dealing with this component. Now, is this component more important, Lessonponent, than the other two? I wouldn't say it's more or less. It's equal. It's 3 legs of a table, 3 legs of a stool, 3 legs of the statue, whatever. It needs them to stay up and balanced. Structurally, you can't have 2, right? It'll wibble wobble. It's a line. You need the 3rd at least minimum to have an actual foundation. If you have no belief, what you'll find is you'll constantly question the first 2. You'll question that maybe I didn't imagine properly because somehow when I imagine, I saw it and it wasn't properly seen. That must be what I've done wrong. No, that's just doubts. That's lack of belief. Oh, maybe I'm not actually good enough because it hasn't happened yet. Again, doubts. Doubts and understanding that I am not what I am. When we realize that we have the thing already, when we realize that it's created already from step 1, and then step 2, I'm certainly worthy of it, and step 3, leg 3, whatever, I am believing that this is it, the determination, that consciousness, that desire, that knowing that this is mine to have. Knowing that if I keep going in this direction, that this will unfold before me. Knowing that this is the path forward. There's been countless people that have talked about success stories that required all 3 of these. Most of the time, they tend to focus on one of them. Doesn't mean all 3 aren't in play. I implore you all to ask that question outward to others. What are the things you were doing? How are you believing about yourself? How did you see yourself? Were you worthy? Were you someone that should deserve this? When you've got all 3 of these things in line, you're solid. Now, you can think of it and manifest it and create the situation, right? And then what happens if number 2 is not in line? If I don't have my I am situated, when I get before them, then that's where you're having the bad interview. You're the one that's looking for the job. I keep interviewing, but I can't seem to get a job. I can manifest myself in front of the interview, but for some reason I failed during the interview. Why? Because you doubt yourself. Number 2 is out of whack. You can manifest the situation over and over and over, but if you don't have your I am presence in play, you're not going to do well in the interview. You're not going to do well on the first date. You're not going to come across the way you should. And to the contrary, if I don't have my I am going, but I keep envisioning contrary to that, I have my I am in place. I think the world of myself, but I'm not necessarily spending any time on focus. Then I'm kind of constantly bumping into all sorts of opportunities. There's a whole lot of situations I'm not 100% sure what I want to do because I don't have any focus. I don't have my imagination in any sort of direction. So I'm kind of like a light that's just spinning in circles, kind of like one of those lights, the lighthouse, right? Like, watch out, stay away from me. I've got a light going around. And it's just because we don't know what we want to do. So without any focus, without any imagination, without any thought about where I'm going, it makes it really difficult to go anywhere. So you need some sort of focus. You need to believe you can get there. Now, what happens if I'm not living in the end, or if I have my doubts, or I have my disbeliefs? Then you can be doing 1 and 2 perfectly. I am worthy, I am great, but I keep doubting it throughout the day because I don't believe in law of attraction, because I don't realize that there's a connection between what I focus on and what seems to happen in reality, because my friend told me this isn't true, because I was talking to somebody about what I'm manifesting and they told me I'm crazy. Whatever the case is, I keep having doubts. And when we have doubts, when we focus on the negative, when we look at the real world right now and say, I don't have it already, it's really not here, and we work ourselves into being bummed. We work ourselves into feeling poorly. We work ourselves into following more thoughts that are negative. You can have all the other things in play, but when your belief kicks out, when you finally give up on the belief factor, you'll spiral into a horrible place. You can. It's very easy. I've done it countless times as well. It's all about focusing on what I do have, focusing on where I am going, focusing on what I am doing, not focusing on what I do have. Who cares? That's what I'm changing. I'm improving my life. You're improving your life right now too. What you have right now is what's changing. What you have right now is no big deal, because what you have tomorrow is even more. It's that belief component that has to be in play. So if these 3 things aren't running smoothly in your manifesting life, if these 3 things aren't in play when you're having magic, you're not going to have success. It's about learning the balance. It's about realizing that there's 3 components, not just the one. And that when these 3 components are united, your dreams start showing up into your life. Dan, Radio Style.